This didn't work, and that's kind of the point of this video. Building this system, I don't get everything right the first time. This one was a connector, a way to run power to each junction box to the next stage of wiring. My first idea for it didn't pan out, so I changed it. And when you're building all of this on a living system, you don't get to pause the tanks while you sort out the wiring. Mini Biota is a modular ecosystem I designed to run on its own, 6 biomes right now: saltwater, terrestrial, and freshwater, all working together as one closed ecosystem. The idea is to learn about this system and this process and to share the knowledge publicly. That means simulating our biological economy at a size and time scale we can actually take in, understanding how life affects the other life around it and the abiotic home it's living in, how chemistry exchanges between them, and how the whole living thing corrects itself back towards balance. And right now, learning that means getting the wiring right, because it's what actually lets me affect the climate in here. It's all hidden behind the stands, but without it, none of these environments will function. Back in March, the transformer that runs my chiller circulation pump burned out. It had been running non-stop longer than it was ever built for, but instead of rushing to fix it, I opened the system up to vent while I worked on other areas of the project that also needed some attention. One of those areas is the whole control system behind these tanks. That turned into a full rebuild, and it started with a 12-volt power rail running to all 6 biomes, 6 junction boxes, all wired back to a single power supply. Putting the rail together came with a lot of specific decisions and a few mistakes, starting right with the wire itself. I had this damaged extension cord sitting around, and the wire inside it was actually perfect for the job. Black so it blends in against the tank stands and rated well past what I actually need for the 12 volts and the current running through this part of the system. That extension cord wire is great because it has a thick, flexible outer jacket that handles moisture and constant bending. So I decided to use it. And so once I decided on the wire I was using, I needed a clean way to bring it into a junction box, so I went with cable glands that actually fit it really well. Using cable glands gives me a built-in strain relief. If someone accidentally tugs on the wire behind the stand, the pull gets absorbed by the gland and the printed box, so the electrical connection inside never takes any mechanical stress. And these glands have a fixed size, so before I even start my design with Onshape, I'm on the bench with calipers measuring the threaded section of the cable gland I just picked, because those numbers are what everything else gets built around. Then it's wall thickness for the box, internal room for the WAGO connectors, and clearance so that the box closes clean. Every dimension propagates outward from the fixed constraints that I started with. And so once the initial model is ready, I print a simplified test piece to check the basics. I'm verifying overall size and hole alignment, and while that's printing, I'm already back in CAD working on version 2. I typically iterate a few times before I land on something I'd actually call finished. Print, test, adjust, print again. My Bambu Lab printer is fast enough that I can genuinely work this way, designing the next iteration while the current one is still on the build plate, which is a huge advantage for the prototype process. Finally, the last problem I saw through iteration was the lid. And these boxes mount vertically, so I recessed the lid into the body so that it seats itself and holds its own weight. It's a small detail, but it keeps the profile flush and makes installation a lot easier. Once the design was finalized and printed, all 6 junction boxes went up on the biomes, and the wire got cut to length and routed through every one of them. Stripping the outer sheathing was its own problem. I didn't have the right tool for it, so I scored it lightly with a razor blade and worked it the rest of the way by hand. Not the best approach, honestly, but it's what I had. As for the wiring itself, it was pretty easy given the connectors. All I really needed to do here was match up the wire color and insert them into the WAGO connectors. Once the connectors are added, I just stuffed the wires back into the junction box and screwed on the lid that perfectly sat itself within the enclosure. And so with everything inside these boxes finally wired, there was still one more connection to make, getting power from each junction box to its electrical enclosure. And that meant figuring out one more connector, the one that you saw at the start, the one that actually didn't work. I started my career maintaining aircraft electronics, so my instinct was to reach for the same style of connector I grew up with, a 2-pin aviation connector. It looks the part. And then I actually tried to put it together, and it just ended up being more work than it was worth. It didn't fit the cable I was using cleanly, no matter how I approached it, so I just pulled it and switched to a simple barrel connection instead. Strip the wire, terminate it, heat shrink over the joint, done. Simple, and it works really well. This rail doesn't use any grounding either. It's straight 12 volts DC, no ground needed, so I cut that conductor off at every single connection. Here's where things actually stand right now. Each biome gets its own control system, powered by this 12 volt rail, which is how I adjust the climate in every tank. Each biome has its own heat exchanger fed by a water and glycol mixture from the chiller, cooled down to around minus 30 degrees Celsius. The electronics compare the current temperature against the target set point and sends that chilled fluid to whichever heat exchanger needs it to tune the environment precisely. Originally, I built all 6 electronic enclosures with the wiring passing straight into the box permanently. Once I started installing them, I realized how difficult it makes servicing or swapping the sensors later, so I pulled the first one back off. The new design is still in progress, but I'm updating the enclosure to use panel-mounted JST connectors instead, so everything can just plug in from the outside. It's a similar story with the sensor. I need them to be completely water resistant for long-term use without introducing any metals into the tanks. Right now, I'm testing a 3D printed housing using a PTFE membrane over the sensing element. That lets humidity breathe through while the rest of the housing gets potted in silicone. The first test piece is poured, so I still need to crack it open and evaluate the results. I already had to pivot once on this build with that aviation connector. This is the exact same process, just at a bigger scale. Instead of swapping one part, it's 6 entire enclosures and sensor test. And this time you're seeing the problem before I have a finished solution. Before moving on to the enclosures, I needed to make sure that the power rail was actually solid. A WAGO connection only works if it's gripping the wire cleanly, so I went down the line with a multimeter to test all 6 junction boxes. What I'm really looking for with the multimeter isn't just a voltage number, it's making sure that there's no voltage drop across any junction point. A poorly seated wire in a lever nut creates high contact resistance, which builds up heat when current flows. Testing each box under load confirms that the contact is solid and that the current flows cleanly all the way down to the last biome. Every reading came back clean, full power right where it's supposed to be all the way down the rail. I know I could have bought standard junction boxes online, but I spent the time searching and there really wasn't an off-the-shelf option that fit this setup. Commercial electrical boxes are usually too bulky, the wrong shape, or they can be just a little expensive for my shoestring budget. Designing and 3D printing my own boxes turned out faster, cheaper, and allowed me to put cable glands, screw mounts, and internal clearances exactly where the system needed them to be. And honestly, that's just how I approach this entire project. I'm all about the journey and the practical, hands-on experience of building things myself. I want to understand why a design works firsthand by making it, testing it, and fixing it when it falls short, rather than just buying a commercial solution. I'm a maker at heart. That's my default every single time. The electronics enclosures and the sensor tests aren't finished yet. The new enclosure design with panel-mounted connectors is still on the bench, and that first potted sensor test is still sealed up waiting to be cracked open and evaluated. I'll share those results as soon as they're ready, but none of this build happens without the people backing this project on Patreon. Their support directly funds the supplies, the filament, the electronics, and the tools that make this build possible. If you want to help support this growing project and follow along with every build step, the link is right below.